So my name's Kearbey. I'm originally from Missouri, and I'm studying medicine at the Latin American School of Medicine in Havana, Cuba, and I'm currently going into fourth year. This year will include surgery, OB-GYN, and pediatrics.
Well, all right then. And at this moment, you are in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And how long have you been here? And what brings you here?
So I've been here 5 weeks actually as of today. And I came here because I got connected with some ELAM graduates, or the Latin American School of Medicine graduates, who are now practicing doctors here and have helped me to get some shadowing experience and get to see the medical field from this side.
Okay, so what does shadowing mean? And where did you actually do this shadowing at? Was it only in a hospital, or where did it occur?
So I feel very fortunate because I've had a very diverse experience here. And so my shadowing has included time in a hospital, it's included time at a clinic, it's included time at a low-income clinic, and also a clinic that offers medical services to people who don't have insurance and undocumented immigrants. I've also had the opportunity to go to a more alternative medicine and get to see what an acupuncturist does and how he works with the doctors as well. I also got to sit and talk with a hospice doctor and talk about what that looks like in New Mexico and how that's in people's home, and it's not just her, but it's a team of people that work with the hospice patients. And on an international level, I actually got to participate in a birthing project and prepare kits for the Dominican Republic.
Okay, and so what does preparing kits mean? And what did you learn from actually preparing kits?
So preparing a kit looks like putting together all of the pieces of the kit. So in each kit, there's a pad, 2 pair of gloves, an individual bar of soap, an umbilical cord clamp, and a scalpel. Each of these serves a purpose so the woman can have a safe birth. And then this goes into a plastic bag that can be used later for disposable needs, for dirty material, for anything that is necessary. And then, when it's all said and done, they go into a little canvas bag like this. And this is how they're sent to each mother. Safe birth kits that are being sent to the Dominican Republic. There are 60 in this bag alone. And so these will all go to the Dominican Republic in October. Each of these items that go into this kit has a purpose and is to help a woman have a safe birth. And it's to protect the woman and the child. And so as you look at these items, they're very intentional and they carry so much power because it's offering a woman and her community a way to take care of herself and her child.
What was your takeaway from these last 5 weeks?
So I think there's a couple things I really strongly will hold on to as I go forward. And one was the diversity that is offered, the differences and the different ways you can practice family medicine. And so that ranges from hospice to babies to elderly to everything in between. And I think that's really beautiful. And it ranges from rural to urban and low income to not. And there's just so much you can do with family medicine. The second part of that would strongly relate, and that is that every single person who's practicing has a different takeaway. And so as you talk to different people, you're actually holding on to the pieces that are relevant to you, and you're taking all of their input, all their opinions, all of their experience, and you're figuring out what that looks like for your future.
What are you learning in Cuba that you think is really going to help you be the doctor you want to be when you get back to the United States?
So the first thing that comes to mind whenever I think about what I'm learning in Cuba is the importance of the doctor-patient relationship, because they say in Cuba that the majority of your diagnosis can be done by your interview with your patient, because that is when you sit and you realize their social atmosphere, their biological, what is going on with them, and also their psychological, how is their mental health and what is impacting that. Because our health isn't just a sickness. It's not just what's going on with your body. It's biopsychosocial, and everything's integrated. And so as you sit and talk to your patient and you really listen to what's going on, that helps you know why they are where they're at. And I think that is so important, because that is what builds a connection. It lets your patient be heard, and it makes them want to come back because they feel like you're going to take the best care of them. So as part of this work that I've had the opportunity to participate in, I have gotten the opportunity to work with various doctors and to work in various places. And so the first person I actually got to work with was Dr. David Lavender, and he works in a rural community in New Mexico near Chama. At that clinic, you get to see a wide variety of patients, and I just got to follow him around and help him a little bit here and there with whatever I could and whatever was allowed. And it was really cool because you got to see kids for their just yearly checkups, but you also got to see the elderly and people who came in for chronic pain and psychological issues. And so it was a wide variety of what you see. And something that I noticed and talked to him about in that setting is that the rural communities in New Mexico, when there's a clinic like this, a lot of the times they actually act almost like an emergency room, because it may be the only clinic in that area, and the people out there are tough, and they are going to go there only when there's a real need. And a lot of them don't want to come to Albuquerque for care. They want to be seen local because they want to stay local. And so that was a really unique setting, because you really do get to use a full range of medical experience. Okay, so the second person that I got an opportunity to work with was Dr. Gina Lutz, and she does a lot of hospice care, which was a very unique perspective on family medicine. And hospice care, she also does palliative care. They're a little bit different, but they work hand in hand. And for me, that was really incredible, because I'm interested in palliative care. And so to get to sit and talk to her about how she doesn't just work by herself, but she works with a whole team that comes together for the good of the patient. And that team includes a psychologist, it includes a social worker, it includes a chaplain, and several other people as well. And something really unique about New Mexico that I learned, and I think is really important to take note of and recognize, is New Mexico is actually one of the only states that allows assisted dying. And so to get to talk to her about her experience in that and how that has impacted her and the people around her, I think that was really important. The third doctor that I actually got an opportunity to work with was Dr. Joanna Sowers, and she works at St. Vincent's Hospital in Santa Fe. And that was a very different experience from everything else, because I was in an emergency department setting, and she actually sees patients, she admits patients, and she was telling me that as a family doctor, she actually has a privilege, and that a lot of people that work with her don't get, which is she can admit pediatric patients.
Huh.
Whereas a lot of people who do internal medicine, they can't admit pediatric patients. And so that was a great experience to sit with her and to actually get to do some CPR on a little dummy. We didn't do it on a person. And then we also got to look at some imaging and EKGs. And so it was a very different experience than the clinics or talking to Gina about hospice care and stuff like that.
So what was it like for you to actually be mentored and supervised and supported by, and having, whenever you wanted to, doctors who were available to you, who had also gone through the ELAM medical school in Cuba and were now coming back debt-free and able to do whatever they wanted to do in medicine with who they wanted to do it with. How did that make you feel?
I think the first thing I think of is that I felt so loved and grateful because I felt loved because they did go through what I went through. They know Cuba, they know the school, they know the whole experience. And there was just a part of that where they just really took me in, almost like a little sister, and took care of me. And not just in terms of medicine, but they welcomed me into their homes and into their families. And it wasn't me asking a lot of the time to go shadow. It was, hey, would you like to do this? And it was really them making this possible. And I think on the other end of that is I also am grateful because I see that they've done what I've done and I see where they're at now. And it gives me a hope and excitement about the future because I know that it's all going to roll out how it's supposed to work out. And it's all going to come together in the end.
I also think that sometimes when we are away from the United States, we wonder where is that sense of community. And did you get an opportunity while you were here to not only be exposed to your ELAM colleague doctors, but did you see the way that in a place like New Mexico, community was being formed?
I did. I really saw community from so many aspects. And I think there were people that I've connected with in Cuba. And they actually put me in contact with other people they know because they thought that it would be a good connection for me. And then it's just like connecting with the people around me and connecting with the people who are interested in what I'm doing, but also supportive. And some of those were unexpected. And it was like, that's beautiful, you know? That's really beautiful because you see the people care and invest.
So you actually had a goodbye party, huh?
I did.
And what was that like?
It was so great.
Why?
Because it felt like family. And so what I saw in my goodbye party was that people came together who I don't know them very long. I hadn't met any of the doctors or any of the not doctors before I came here this summer. Yeah, maybe we had messaged, but that was it. And so to see a group of people come together and celebrate me and love me and support me, that was just, it was really beautiful. I don't have words because it was so beautiful and unique. And yeah. To wrap everything up, I would just like to say a few things. The first is I would just like to say thank you so much to everyone who I have met and have the opportunity to work with this summer. It really has been a privilege and amazing to work with each of you. And thank you to each person who has also donated financially and supported me for this year. I'd like to say a special thank you to Dr. Carmen Landau for being the first person in New Mexico to reach out and to offer me an opportunity to come to New Mexico and shadow when the time came. Additionally, I would like to say thank you to IFCO Pastors for Peace for being the facilitators of the Cuba U.S. Medical School Scholarship and for offering this opportunity to me. And I'd like to say thank you to MEDIC for being the facilitators of the Summer Community Connections Program and giving me the opportunity to work and serve at the One Hope Centro de Vida. And last, but certainly not least, I would like to say thank you to Cuba and her people, because this is why I'm here. And I will forever be grateful for the opportunity that the people and Cuba itself has offered to me. Y quiero decir gracias también a Cuba y a toda su gente, porque yo no estaría aquí sin ustedes. Y especialmente gracias a Comandante en Jefe Fidel Castro Ruz, porque es por ustedes que estoy aquí y siempre voy a estar agradecida a ustedes.